Hey y'all, I just want to give you a quick warning on this video. This is not going to be my normal homestead vlog type content today. I'm going to be sharing how we butcher our Kune Kune pigs. This is the setup I have behind me. I'm going to be doing basically a step-by-step what we do video. It's going to be pretty graphic, and if this is not something that you want to see, then just skip this video entirely. There will be nothing else in this video besides the butchering of the pig. So I'm sorry if you are uncomfortable with that, so just skip it if you are. If you're interested in knowing how we do this and the process, stick around because that's what we're doing today. Hey y'all, I'm Amy and welcome back to Misty Down Farm. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to be doing a video on how we process our Kune Kune pigs. Today's video is just going to be the actual butchering part. We're not going to be getting into how we process the meat and cut the different cuts of meat and things like that. If you're interested in that, I can do that in another video. This one is just going to be basically the hanging, skinning, portioning, what we do as far as all that goes. So that's what we're going to be doing today. It's, as you can see, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. It is warm out here. We're going to let it cool down just a little bit. We are in November. We like to butcher in the winter time because we don't have a cold room, so we do it outside. And we're going to let it get a little bit darker, a little bit cooler, and then we're going to be processing a pig, my husband's cousin's pig. He's doing it here, so that's what we're gonna do. And it might be a little dark. It's gonna get darker as it goes on. We have some lights set up. Hopefully you'll be able to see everything okay. So let's get started. Okay, what tools do you usually use?
So usually there's a skinning knife. I have a couple because this is day 3 and things get dull. You need a good gut hook for not puncturing the guts when you decide to get to that part. I have a fillet knife because we found that that's the easiest to take off the fat when you make lard. I have a saw for cutting bones.
Alright, we also have a number 2 wash tub that things will drop into. And then it hangs here.
So we're gonna hang it by the back legs on this contraption here. And so between the leg bone and there's a tendon right there, we're gonna make a cut and hang it. Be careful not to cut the tendon because then you can't hang it.
Okay, so this Kune is a little bit smaller than what you would typically do one, but he's ready to go ahead and get it done because he's got other things going on. That's Bryan's cousin's pig. So the first thing that Bryan's gonna do is get ready to skin it out. We don't scald and scrape, we skin because it's easier.
This says swing blaze. You can see it right there. I really don't know what it's called, but it folds out. This is a must in my opinion because it doesn't have a sharp tip, so when you go to skin things it does not catch on anything. Anything around the legs like I'm doing here, you just stick it right under the skin and it cuts just the skin. Usually I would start at the back legs and work my way down. But I have recently found that if you go ahead and do the front legs, it's way easier when you get the skin pulled down to this point. You got to worry about it later. But you want a sharp knife, and you just basically run it along the edge, and as long as you got pressure against the skin, it comes right loose from the meat. So now I'm working my way around the back leg so we can start skinning down. So here, this is the bone here. This is the tendon. So when you're skinning, be very careful, because if you cut that tendon, this thing's gonna fall. This is probably the hardest part, is skinning around here. Once you get down past this, it goes a lot faster. So we've got it split between the legs. We're gonna work it off around the butt so we can actually get in here and widen this thing out. Because right now, Jarrett's got it held, let go of it. It's still not enough to, this piece slides down and it opens it really wide so you can have room to work. You might see lots of hair. We rinse it off frequently before we put it in the cooler, and then we'll go through it again when we actually debone it later and get all the hair off.
Okay, what are you doing now?
So I'm going to take this and we're going to go down the back to the head, and we're going to do the same thing on the front. That makes it easier for it to peel off later. If this were a deer, I wouldn't do that, but pigs are tough. So here's the tail. When you get down past the rectum, you want to make sure that hopefully you didn't feed your pig for about 24 hours or you have a lot to deal with in the poop chute. But right here is the bone. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not. Right there, that little white thing. So it's part of the spine. So if you find it between the vertebrae or knuckle, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of hard, but you just stick your knife in it and wiggle and it'll come right off. So there's the tail, right there. So a lot of your lard's going to come from the back fat between the neck and the butt. That's where it's going to be the thickest and the most of it. We're also doing this at night. It's been a little bit cooler here in Florida. You want to get it skinned and gutted, and you want it to cool off as quick as possible. Once you get it pretty much past the back hips, the weight of it helps a lot. I'm just running my knife across it and it's peeling down. You could probably just pull it down, but when we've done that before, it starts looking more like that and it peels I guess I could show you. It tears a lot of it. Sometimes it pulls it loose, sometimes it doesn't. So even though it's about 75 degrees here in Florida, we do have a fire going because the mosquitoes are pretty bad and the smoke keeps them away. When it gets closer to December, January, we do it to keep warm. Lard. So now we got it past the front shoulders, so it's right up around the neck and the jaw. Probably could skin it all the way out and get more meat off of it, but we're not going to worry about it because this is our third one. So you need to cut all the way through. This is a graphic, by the way, so if you don't like lots of blood, you might not want to watch this part. But you go all the way down to the neck, the spine, the bone. So sometimes you get lucky, you can get between the vertebrae on the spine and it'll come right off because it's just cartilage holding it together. But I can't find it, so we're just going to use a saw. So now I got the fillet knife and we're just going to take off as much of this fat as we can. 2 people is a lot easier, just so I can hold it. Your bacon is pretty much from the back ham to the front shoulder, all across the ribs. So if you're gonna make bacon, you don't want to take off too much fat because then you won't have tasteful bacon. But don't really have a way to do it here very well, so it's just gonna become sausage. We're getting ready to gut it. So the hip bone connects here and then in here. So we're going to cut on each side of here.
This is the back.
This is the back. And then we're going to take the saw and cut the bone, and then all of this, we're going to try and take it forward, and then when we gut it, it all comes out one time.
Okay.
This is the bladder. Try not to bust that. You don't want that going all over your meat. It's bad. So with a gut hook, what I do is I stick my hand inside the belly. Just hook it, pull down. It's got a lot of fat in it, so you may have to come back later, but not with your hand in it. Or you can just take a second pass. It's almost inside a sack, so you have to cut the sack loose from the ribs and the whole thing comes out. When you get down to the neck, it's gonna be connected to the trachea, so you may have to cut that stuff loose, or if you're good enough, you can just pull it out. You can see here, this is the kidneys on both sides. So all this right here is what they call the leaf lard. So if you like doing baking and stuff, that's the good stuff that you're gonna want to get out. Don't be afraid to put your hand in there and just pull it apart. That's your leaf lard. Once you got the guts completely out of the way, you can get the rest of that. So because we're not doing bacon, we're just going to cut this off the ribs and just grind it up later. Pull the shoulder out. You're going to cut it loose on the underside. And you want to find the shoulder blade. You can grab two hands now. So on the inside of the pig, between the back legs and the ribs, you have your tenderloin right here. I've already taken one out. Most of them, because they're tender, you can just get your finger right behind it. On deer especially, you can just peel it out, but this one, as you can see there, it's got ligaments and fat. So we're gonna just cut it loose. And then just work your knife back towards the bone. And it almost peels out. So for people who are deer hunters, your back strap, this is your pork loin. It's where your pork chops come from. We're just gonna take it out so you can do boneless pork chops later, but you could leave it in there and cut it to have it in the bone. You just basically start right behind the ham, the butt, you're gonna call it. I am not a professional, don't come at me. And then we're gonna go down, make a spore on the backbone. Then on the ribs, if you can get it started, it comes off pretty easy, just like a tenderloin. So find that backbone. You're going to work your way down it. And if you're not very good at pig, you mess up your pork loin and you end up with extra pieces like that. It's now going to be sausage. Like I said, we don't do the bacon. If you were going to do bacon, you would take this all the way down the rib, but we're not. So we're going to come back and we're going to saw the ribs off, leave this on it, and the way we do it was you throw the whole thing in the crock pot and cook it low, and once you've cooked it for 6-8 hours, you can literally just turn the bone and pull it right out of the meat. It's up to you, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Put ice on it now.
And how long do we keep ice on it before we do anything?
About 5 days. The purpose is to pull the rest of the blood out of it. So we don't have a cold room to hang them, so it's still pretty jello-like when we debone it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, y'all, so that is that. This is the fat that I'm going to render into lard. I've got 2 other bowls. I'm gonna stick this in the fridge with the other ones. So I'll do all this at the same time. And that is how we do it. So until next time, keep on sunny side.